see so much talk about brokers being such shisty some bitches, which many of them are. But what gets forgotten in that, coming from the driver's perspective that all of us, pretty much hear, what gets forgotten is the fact that there's a bunch of us shitty-ass drivers out there taking the shitty-ass rates that the shitty-ass broker is handing out on these shitty-ass loads. So, when you get to thinking about it, who's more of the problem? Is it the broker whose job is to make as much money as they can off of each load that they broker out? Or is the bigger issue the driver, who is the one out here doing the same job as you and I, taking all that garbage ass shit, or taking it super cheap, or, again, as I've talked about in other videos, not knowing what your value is as far as not having an idea of what kind of rate you should run for. Because unfortunately, what's going on is that these guys are getting with really cheap ass carriers, or they're going out and they're getting their own authority and they're getting on these load boards, or they're getting access to these load boards through a buddy who has a buddy who wants to make a few dollars by charging you to use their load board. They're getting on there and they're bidding things. They might start off thinking, man, I'm on a load board now. I'm going to make all this big monies, man. Money's just going to start flowing in. Then when they start bidding, this crazy number, and they're not getting it, like, damn, I'm not getting it. Now they've tried for several days or whatever, and they're not hardly ever getting a load bidding a higher number. So what eventually happens is that number goes down and down and down. And then it gets to a certain point where it's like, oh, this is the amount I need to be at in order to regularly get to win the bid, and I can regularly carry freight, which ends up being a super cheap rate. Most of the time, if you're dealing with a carrier or a driver that is balls to the wall running miles, and he's not with a carrier, or himself personally doesn't have any direct customers that's giving him all that freight, and he's running balls to the wall, there's a pretty good chance that dude is running pretty damn cheap overall. And now here is the thing. What I just said is running cheap. What do you consider cheap? I consider cheap if you're running on a load board and you're supposed to be operating as a business, you should easily be over $1. Easily over $1 on your all-in bid. And most aren't. Some people, they think, oh, well, I'm regularly getting 90-some cents, and man, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good for a van pay. That's not pretty good for a carrier, what they're getting, because you have overhead for your business. The business is separate from the vehicle itself. The vehicle is one business entity, and the carrier, the dispatch service that you are running as an independent, is a separate business. So you have two businesses you're trying to earn money for. 90-some cents, that took care of the van business. And, some people have the mistaken belief that, oh, well, I don't have much overhead. It's just me and my home. So they can take less, which is true. I mean, you can. But if you're looking long term, if you're looking to become something, that little bit of money ain't never going to get you to become more than what you are sitting at your house bidding loads. So you've got to have bigger goals than that, which you have to start doing things in order to get that money. But I'm getting a little sidetracked. Let me get back to what I was, the whole point, and why I'm on here jibber-jabbering and running off at the mouth, is that too many drivers do not have any flipping clue what kind of money they should be running for, what kind of money they should be asking from a broker when they're bidding freight, and they just take whatever, they put whatever number they eventually have to put out there in order to get awarded the bid. It's something I've been trying to tell people lately. It's like, when you go to pay your bills are not getting paid by the miles. Like, I can't go in and say, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and use these 1,500 miles right here, and I want to pay my electric bill. No, I gotta pay it with money, cash money. Okay, cash money is what people need to be concentrating on, and too many people are mistakenly worried about miles, and so they're bidding just to get the miles. Like, who gives a shit? I just bid 2,000 miles. I just want to bid for 2,000 miles. It only paid me $1,200, but, well, I shouldn't even say that they're going to say it's only paying them $1,200. They're looking at $1,200 in a lump sum like they did something. But when it's all said and done, they just put in all that work for a little bit of pay. And again, the brokers are going to take advantage of that because they always know that there are drivers out there that are going to do that. It's so frustrating. I mean, I've seen how the bid boards work, and that's, I'm under the belief that if you go cheap, you start going cheap, you're going to put yourself into a corner you can't ever get out of, as far as hoping to get a solid rate from these people again. They know that they can back you down. Again, as I said, they know, like in Laredo. Laredo's a perfect example. People are going super cheap. As I said, I've heard a business, a freight broker talk about somebody bidding 25 cents a mile to take freight out of Laredo. 25 cents. That's crazy. But that's what people are doing. I mean, they're regularly doing that. So again, the whole point is that the brokers know that there's going to be those of us out here that are going to run super cheap, and you'll see it on the bid boards. You can say you win a bid, you can win the bid, and that load is going to stay on the board because they're still hoping that somebody will pop in with a bid that's going to beat yours. Then they're going to call you with some BS telling you that, oh well, it canceled, and it didn't cancel. There's also times that you put out a respectable bid, your bid don't get declined, you don't hear a response, and that load is just sitting out there and sitting out there. They'll even let that load sit out there past the time that they had for the pickup just because they're waiting for that cheap runner, because they know that cheap one is coming. They know it. And so again, my question is, who's the shittier person? The broker waiting for the cheap-ass driver to take this freight, or the cheap-ass driver that's going to take the cheap freight? Who's the bigger problem, man?